Hello, welcome to the Migrant channel. You can call me the Migrant. Happy a very, very young 2025. I hope you have been good. I'm well. I haven't posted for weeks now, mainly because I've been going through it all. But I'm grateful to be feeling better and better enough to record this. How have you been? How has been 2024 for you, and how is the brand new 2025? Let me know in the comments section how you are. Today I will be doing an episode called Navigating Traveling Internationally for the first time. The reason I decided to do this is that I noticed that, over and over, I've had to explain to my family and friends as they were about to take their first flight or experience international travel for the first time. I've had one friend, my best friend, visit me here for the first time. I've had two family members visit me. So each time, especially when a friend visited, she had never flown before, she had never traveled international before. So I realized that I spent so much time writing and guiding her that, when you get to the airport, do this, do that. And I thought, maybe I need to write a guide and then share it with people. What's the point in knowing something and not sharing it? I also noticed that I've been looking myself at some destinations I've not been to before, and normally YouTube is almost like, okay, it's owned by Google, but it's like they Google these days, where you just go and look for information and you find there. So I've looked at some destinations that I was interested in to see what that country is about and what are the experiences when people travel there, especially people like me, people of African descent, because obviously while some experiences may be shared, if someone is Caucasian, is traveling to, another country for the first time, how they are treated and their requirements might, in most cases, are not the same as those of African descent. So I tend to look at guides from people like me because they are likely to have the same experiences as me and see the world through kind of shared lens. So that's why I decided to do this segment. So thank you for listening, and let's get started. So on this guide, I decided to split it into a number of sections. I think I will do them separately. So the guide is really to guide someone who's thinking of traveling or traveling internationally, especially flying internationally for the first time, so that it can be a smooth and enjoyable experience. So I divided this into a number of sections, which I think I will do separately. So remember, when you're traveling, especially when you need to go to the airport, there are different sections of this. So you have the pre-travel, which includes, the documentation. We won't be talking about visas at this point. We'll be talking about, say, you've gotten your visa already. If you need a visa to go somewhere, you've booked your ticket already and all of that. And then you are now just getting ready to go. You're just getting ready for that day. So that has pre-travel information, the check-in, and, during the journey itself, what the experience is like, at arrival at destination, how do you deal with the immigration, but also some useful words. However, today we will just do the pre-travel and check-in bit. The rest I will do them at the next segment. Okay, if you're ready, let's talk about pre-travel. So before you travel, obviously, as I mentioned, you need to have your documentation. In this case, it could be the passport. It's always the passport and your ID. If your country has IDs, because some countries don't have IDs, but most countries have both passports and IDs. Ensure you have your passport and that you're keeping it in a safe and accessible place, like a shoulder, a cross bag, or something like that, a bag that you can just put across your shoulder and, together with your suitcase. Make sure that you have all your supporting documents, whatever copies that you submitted, let's say at the embassy or the consulate when you were looking to apply for a visa. If you don't need a visa to go to visit a particular country, they still list the documentation that the immigration would want to see. Of course, quickly, these are usually the return ticket, how long, where you're staying for the duration of your visit, that you should have, whether it's an Airbnb or it's a booking.com accommodation booked. Also, what you do, your socioeconomic activities back home. It could be that you're in education or you're in employment. You need to bring proof from the employer, in the form of an employer letter, confirmation letter of employment, bank statement, 3 months or 6 months bank statement, depending on the country, as well as the pay slips. That's usually how you prove what you do back home. But also, if you're in education, just bring a letter from the university that confirms that you're a student. So those are some of the supporting documents. Travel insurance, your IDs, travel insurance, accommodation booking, proof of your socioeconomic activities and all of that. Those are the supporting documents. Please try and make sure that you put them neatly in a folder, and they should be in the order on which the required documents are listed on the website of that particular country. Say for the visa, the requirements, put them in that list, because they normally would list that you need your passport, you need your accommodation, you need your return ticket. That list, the way they listed it, put them according to that list when you're going to the airport in a very neat folder. So that's about it, about the passport and the documents. So yes, a presentation that you really present them neatly. You should also look presentable, but as comfortable as possible. Like smart casual is usually good. Then that's it about the documentation. You also have the packing. I will speak specifically about, I'll cover, particular packing separately, but just overview of packing. You need to have your, pack according to your the luggage that you will bring on the plane, and also maybe the luggage that you will checking in, which means putting it in through at the security desk. So they put it on the plane. You don't travel with it on the plane. They put it separately on the side of the plane where the luggage compartment is. So if you're checking in a big bag, and also if you are bringing in a bag inside, can be anything between 7 to 12 kg depending on countries and the airline. So make sure that you know what, it doesn't exceed that weight, the carry-on luggage that you bring inside the plane. Of course, make sure that your toiletries are all put in a small bag, a toilet size bag, clear bag that shows what's inside, and that they don't exceed 100 milliliters. Because anything that exceeds 100 milliliters should go into the checked bag, the bag that doesn't come into the plane. But on the bag that comes onto the plane, or in the bag that comes inside the plane, there should be no liquids that are more than 100 milliliters. So that's the luggage on the carry-on when you're packing. So be aware of this. Of course, plan your entertainment in advance, that you bring with you books, magazines, or music, or whatever, in addition to in-flight entertainment that you will have, because the airline provides this. In front of your seat, there's always going to be a TV-like thing where you can select movies or music to listen to, movies to watch or music to listen to. As I said, if sometimes they have a selection of movies that might not be to your taste, if you have a laptop or something like that, before you leave, download these movies that you can watch during the flight, and make sure your devices are charged accordingly, obviously. Bring yourself some snacks and water. You can't go through security check, which I will talk about later. You can't go through security check with water, with the liquids more than 100 milliliters, as I've said. That includes water or drinks. But you can bring an empty bottle as you're checking in, and then once you go through the security check, there are stations, mostly near the toilets. There is a water station where you can refill your water, so that near the boarding gates, basically, so that you have water for your journey. Because sometimes, like short flights, don't give any snacks on the plane, but long like intercontinent kind of flights, they give food, obviously, but they give that at certain times, which is why you might board and be waiting for like 2 hours before they start serving food. And if you left already hungry or whatever, and the time you've spent at the airport, you're hungry at that point. So it's important to just go to a supermarket before you leave, before you go to the airport, get your favorite snacks for in between, but also bring your water bottle that you can fill at the boarding gate just before you board the plane. And then what else do we have? Okay, I think my time is almost up, but I'm gonna quickly cover checking in online. So before you go, a lot of the airlines, it's sometimes 48 hours in advance. A lot of airlines is 24 hours up to 24 hours in advance. No, 24 hours in advance and up to 3 hours, I think, you can check in online. Some airlines do not allow that, and if they require a visa, they might want you to come to the desk, so they will check your visa. So most of the time, you need to check in yourself online. You go to the airline's website, you use your reference that you booked with, and your last name and sometimes passport details to check in online. If you don't do that, usually they can charge you. Everything at the airport is so expensive, so they can charge you a lot of money to check you in after the online check-in has been closed. So make sure you check in online by going to the airline's website and finding check-in online. And then please make sure, if you're doing the intercontinent kind of travel, make sure that you are traveling to the airport to be there 4 hours before your flight departure time. If your ticket says you leave at 10 p.m. at night, it means that by 6 p.m. you should be at the airport, latest 7 p.m., 3 hours in advance, because it takes about, there could be a queue. Sometimes there are busy times at the airport. You never know which time is busy. You get there are like 50 people in front of you, or they all have their 50 kg bags. Each one of them they have to go through the documentation for everyone. And if you came with only 2 hours left, you'll be under pressure and you'll be stressed out. So be in the queue, expect to wait for an hour. Sometimes you go in there and there's like 2 people in front of you, happy days. But tell yourself that you will always find a big queue. That way you're safer. And also it takes a whole hour to go through security check, putting your bags, make sure you don't have any prohibited items on your bag. So that in itself takes 40 minutes to an hour. And then walking through the airport to find your boarding gate usually takes around at least 10-15 minutes. So if there are any other delays, of course that will, so you do really need minimum 3 hours to be at the airport, minimum 3 hours before the time that's listed on your ticket as the departure time. Let's see if I can do the check-in at the airport. Maybe I will leave it here for now, and then in the next segment I will do a recording which is on the practical instructions on checking in at the airport when arriving, because this was pre-travel kind of information, and then the next segment will be when you arrive at the airport, you are at the desk, your airline desk, because that's the first place you need to go to. You go to the departures and you find your airline check-in desk. That's the first place to go. So what happens there? Okay, I will stop here. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Please do join the conversation, comment below on your experiences of traveling, and share any stories. If one day you missed your flight because you forgot to do this or you forgot to do that, and share this experience. Thank you for listening. I look forward to the next one.